Okay, guys. I know you guys might have a lot of questions, so we'll go ahead and let you get started. Everything's on par for us. Obviously, a week out, and we're doing good. So whatever questions you guys want to have or ask, let's fire away so I can get a chance to visit with everybody.
What are you seeing out of Central Michigan?
I see a tough football team. They've had a few transfers. If just watching last year, highly competitive, very physical up front. I see a lot of MAC football because they play during the week. So you guys are probably like I am late at night. You're flipping. You're like, I'm going to watch a little ball. So you get to watch a game where it's raining and it's 30 degrees on a Tuesday night or whatever. And I've watched a lot of it, and they are exactly what, from a distance, I see with you need that up here or something?
Yeah, I was gonna.
With that conference is they're physical up front. They're tough. Their back is physical. He's part of what they are. Head coach is a good offensive guy. He's a good play caller. From an outside looking in, they believe in toughness. Quarterback is athletic. Had really, really good pass rush last year. They don't try to do too much, in my opinion. They're good at what they do.
You talking about toughness. Is that maybe a good introduction for your new linebackers in that type of situation?
It will be. They want to be physical up front. They want to double team. They want to come off and hit a backer in the mouth. There's some old school involved in what they're doing. They want to get in tight end wings. They want to get in unbalanced. Based on what they've done, there's a little bit of Les Miles offense look to it. For you guys that have been around a while, and tight end wing, shift to tight end wing, going to come right at you, run to the nub side of a wing, see if you can make adjustments. Can you get gap sound? That's what I see.
Linebacker group, obviously one of the kind of newer ones from last year, so that might be the answer. But what kind of groups are you most looking forward to playing in the game as you work through this depth chart a little bit?
At linebackers?
Yeah, or just like what position group in general are you most excited to see and kind of get a feel for?
Out of all the offense and defense?
Yeah.
Well, that'll be an interesting position because those guys haven't played. You have the same with a couple safeties, and you have the same with the running back position. Those will be the positions that I'm sure you guys will watch, like myself, to see how mature we are at those positions at this stage in the game.
And like a year ago, obviously the injury situation got worse over those first 2 or 3 weeks of the season. But how do you feel this year compares to last year in terms of just where you are overall health-wise and all that sort of thing?
Well, we have some uncertainty with the twin. And then Jeff Roberson, he's out for the year, which I think you guys probably already know that. I don't know what you do know or don't know, but but we're better off than we were. At this time last year, it was really scary. So we're further ahead now from a health standpoint than where we were at this time last year.
So you felt your level of concern was high even a week out from the opener about overall health of your team a year ago?
I was really concerned, yeah. And unfortunately, I was right. And then it got kind of worse through games 2 and 3, and I can't even remember, maybe up to game 4. And then it got better. So, we always have to worry about health at Oklahoma State on the offensive line. And so we need to stay healthy at that position. And then running backs always concerned those guys take hits. But overall, the health of our team now is certainly better than what it was this time last year.
Did you chalk it up to just luck, or did you guys try to do some things with how many reps guys got, anything like that?
We practiced hard. We competed. We went at it just like we did last year, so we were just a little more fortunate than we were at this time last year.
On the same health front, it's been a few weeks since I asked about Trace, but how has he progressed?
He's doing good. Trace Ford, he's doing good. Scientifically, he's in great shape. And I think I don't want to repeat myself, but I've said this a number of times. When you have an injury like he had, it kind of messed with you mentally a little bit. And then when you have 2 of them, I would think it would really mess with you mentally. So you have to push through some mental strain and some stress, and I think he's finally getting there. My personal opinion is, once the game starts, the action's going, the juices are flowing, the crowd's into it, I think he's going to go out there and play hard.
On the depth chart, Trace is on the other side, the other defensive end spot. Is that a recent change?
Those guys are going to be interchangeable. We move those guys around a lot, right? I mean, they stand and do different things, so they'll be all over the place. You won't really notice much different.
Staying with that and with the defensive line, Derek Mason and Tyler Lacey have both talked about how he now, because of his size and athletic ability, can go and play three tech, move inside. How much more versatile when you have an end that can also play tackle and you're stacked depth-wise? Is this the deepest you've ever been, defensive line-wise, you think?
Well, we were really deep last year, and we're deep this year. Whether we're really deep or not, I don't know. We'll see. There'll be a few guys that we're trying to get some reps out of. We'll see how they play. Maybe I'm standing here in third or fourth game saying we're really deep again. But I definitely am very comfortable with where we're at. Tyler is very athletic for his size. I'm going to try to get see, where's he at here? Yeah, so see, he's at 285 now. He's there's times we'll put him on the edge and let him rush, and then play some down inside, which is going to help him. His attitude's been really good. His practice habits, his mind's clear. He's not caught up in a bunch of stuff that doesn't have a factor in the game, which that can happen sometime to seniors. We've all seen that. His mind's in a good place right now. His work habits are in a good place right now. So moving him around and playing some different positions is going to help our team, and it's going to help his future.
You were asked about guys or position groups you're excited to see play. I mean, one that I'm looking forward to is Kendall Daniels, just because he just looks the part so much. And I know he's young, he'll make mistakes, but I'm looking forward to seeing what he does right off the bat.
Like Major League, like the movie, The Wild Thing? Have you seen that? Either one of y'all?
They were up late watching Rocky.
Did you see it? Yeah. So you saw what I'm talking about. I mean, that's a classic, right? Caddyshack, Animal House, Stripes. A good direction to go. But the other one is Major League. And he honestly reminds me of the pitcher, that's throwing 100 and not really sure. When he lines up, he's going to look as good as anybody in the country, and he's going to be active and all that. And we're just hoping he's going the right direction right now. And he's better and better and better every day. But don't put him out there so far he's going to make mistakes now. And so we have to understand that. But he's going to look really good doing it. And that's really where he's at right now. And I'm just as excited as you are about watching him. He's in a good place mentally. He's mature, in my opinion. He's handled himself the way he should. His mind's clear, and I think he'll play well. He's going to make some mistakes.
How much is it going to help him that he has a couple of seniors who've been in the program for so long, kind of fun
It
back
does.
there with him?
Yeah, they've got guys are going to have to help. And see, Central Michigan's going to get in some unbalanced double wings, some things that take time to prepare for. And when you're a first-year player and you're on the field and your heart's beating out of your chest and you can't hear as well and you're sweating and it's hot, sometimes you need a little help. You need somebody to help get you lined up, and those guys should be able to give him a little boost in that area.
With Colin Clay on the depth chart, how has he progressed health-wise since the spring?
Done well. He's honestly, he's in the same category as Trace. I've been very pleased with his team full-speed production over the last month. He's in there. He's getting involved. He's been on the ground. He's been in physical contact. He hasn't shown up on any of our injury reports where he's a little dinged up. So I'm pleased with where he's at. I'm very excited about watching him also. He's another guy because, he's got to be 300 now. Yeah, he's 310 is what they're saying. So he looks really good. Where's his endurance? I don't know. We'll find out. He hadn't played since Rocky, the movie. So it's been a while.
With that, was there some curiosity into how he was going to handle getting back into the contact and all those things?
He's played in, 2 years? Probably the last time he played, y'all watched him over here at Putnam City. Seriously. So when you're 310 pounds and you haven't played in a couple years, there's an endurance issue. right? So it's like football and wrestling. There's football shape, and you get a break. We huddle sometimes, and you get a timeout and so on. Wrestling, you never stop. It's continuous action. Two different kind of physical conditions. And his physical condition, to me, is further ahead than what I thought it would be since he hadn't played in so many years. We'll see.
Mike, do you anticipate Cobb and Benson, your starting backers, being lined up correctly and knowing where to go once the ball's snapped, or is that
I hope so.
a work in process?
Are they going to line up? I think there's a better chance large majority of the time they'll line up right. Sometimes can they get confused based on it's new? Sure. I'd be willing to bet 100% that'll happen at times. Most of them it does. And now Benson he's somewhat of a vet because he's played at a high level. His heart race and his adrenaline shouldn't be the extreme of what a Cobb would be, or a Bishop would be, or Nick Martin, those guys that are going to be in there, because they haven't done it yet. Benson should be a little more mature in my opinion, but hopefully we can minimize that. That comes down to us, right? We got to be smart, keep them in the ballpark, don't give them too much. Let them play fast, right? I mean, we all know that if they're thinking they're not playing fast, we want them to play fast. So the answer to the question would be, yeah, there'll be times probably they go the wrong way.
You said and intimated that they don't need to necessarily be Malcolm, can't be Malcolm, certainly not out of the gate. Don't need to be Devin or even for those two. But what do you need them to be? Forget about everyone else around.
Right. That's a good question. We need them to minimize what you mentioned. So defensively, everybody in the room knows we have a gap responsibility, and we're supposed to have one in every gap to prevent you from rushing the football. They're trying to block you out of a gap so they can rush the football. We need them the large majority of the time to be where they're supposed to be. If they'll do that from a simplistic standpoint and play hard and be physical, they'll be all right. And then they should be better the next week, and then hopefully a little better the next week. Because if they're not, then we're not coaching them right. So if we don't improve by position and by individual each week, then we got an issue with the coaching. And so hopefully they'll continue to get better as they mature.
Coach, looking at Caleb Eakin, obviously he's kept down a lot last year, but what have you seen from him? Obviously he started listed as a starting left
Who?
tackle. Caleb Eakin, what have you seen from him this season?
He's come a long ways. You know, Caleb went through COVID, and everybody knows the story, right? He's from New Orleans, went to junior college. They didn't practice, didn't work out, didn't do anything. Came in here. I mean, I think they generously said he weighed 365. Might have been more than that. So then he dropped 40 pounds or so, got in shape. He cleared his mind. He's in a good place mentally right now. He's going to make mistakes. But he's a big guy making them, right? He's a big, massive guy who needs to continue to increase his physical play, which we all know that. But in a weird way, he's still young. He's still a kid because he's not done it at this level. The good news is he's been able to go out and practice against those good defensive ends that we have and let him kick his butt. And so, you know, we have two choices when we get in our butt kicked. We can turn and run or we can fight back. That's the only two choices we have in life. He's fighting back now. So he falls in the same category as what he mentioned is now, 3 weeks from now, he needs to be better. 5 weeks from now, he needs to continue to improve and learn that it's okay to be really, really physical and grind, and I think he'll become a decent player.
I see Jason Vanderbilt transfers obviously listed as second string. What do you think he could possibly bring to them?
Brooks?
Yes, sir.
More mature than that, coming along. Should like to get him some snaps. Obviously, he's come from another Division I program, so he's further along. But we don't know. You know, we'll have to wait and see. But he has worked hard, and he's put himself in a position that if he's in, if he needs to be in, or we decide to rotate him in, he should be able to perform.
With Caleb's size, what can he be long-term?
Well, with his God-given ability, if he decides to be a physical football player and he continues to work and he mentally is in the right place, he can play the game for quite a while. I mean, you and I can't, right? That is not going to happen for us. But for him, it can happen. And I guess that's what you're asking me, yes. But he's got a lot of work. It takes a lot of work. Guys that play at that level, you know, They're not willing to give up a spot to just anybody. That's a paycheck. Their wives like to go to the mall, or go on Amazon now, I guess. We don't go to the mall, but my point being is, if he works hard, buys into Rob Glass, he's got a chance to play the game for a while.
Is there somebody on the defense that can or that you expect to take over that kind of direction leadership that Malcolm provided last year?
Tyler Lacey's going to do it. JT's going to do it. Brock Martin's going to do it. Brendan Evers is going to do it. I don't know. Colin Oliver doesn't say much. Trace Ford, they don't say much. Then you get to what is a leader, and then, some people use the term lead by example. Navy SEALs don't believe in that, right? They say you have to be vocal to be a real leader. Can't just lead by example, and you need to pull people along with you. So those are some good examples of guys I think will help lead.
Where's Colin go with this game? All of it go with this game this year. Good last year. Where do you need him to go this year?
What do we need him to do?
Yeah.
He needs to just keep doing what he's doing. So with a player like him, his challenge, in my opinion, and this is not directed necessarily at him. I'll get back to him since you asked a question about him. Any player that's performed as well as he did as a freshman only has to worry about defeating themselves, the guy in the mirror, and that's staying humble and working hard. That's an issue. When you have production early in your career and you listen to people tell you how good you are, your production level has a chance to go down because you're not hungry, right? It's like Mike Tyson, right? When Mike Tyson was fighting for survival, nobody wanted. He wore black trunks, black shoes, no socks. Nobody wanted in the ring with him. Then when he started winning and listening, money got to be a factor. He changed managers, started doing all the other things over the world, all across the country. He now wasn't as good a fighter. That's what Colin Oliver needs to do, in my opinion.
What have you seen so far?
He's been good. He works hard. He's staying humble. I don't say a word to him all the time except, Colin, just stay humble. Just stay humble and stay who you are and stay hungry. You'll be just fine. And so far he's done that.
Mike, the commissioner was in town. You got to meet with him. How did that go? Did he share any state secrets, or did you educate him on OSU? How'd your meeting go?
He's very well educated on all the schools in this league. Obviously, he didn't get to where he was by not being a planner and being smart and high intelligent. He is that. I had a long meeting with him, probably an hour and 10 minutes or something. He wants information. He meets the criteria of what people do that are eager to learn and trying to get out there and be innovative. I don't think it's any secret. He agrees with all of us. He thinks that the conference alignment's just getting started. I mean, it's just starting now. And I think he believes, and I don't want to speak for him. You can ask him directly, but one thing I like about him is he'll tell you the truth. I mean, he's a straight shooter. I mean, I'm in heaven. I have a commissioner that's a straight shooter. I got a president that's a straight shooter, and an AD that's a straight shooter. I've never been so happy in my life. And I'm a straight shooter. Sometimes it works against me, but I am. And he says that it's just getting started. And it's kind of funny because it's gotten quiet now for a month, right? I mean, we haven't really heard a lot, so that means it's going on. And so I'm very comfortable with him. We made a great decision in hiring him. He's in the process, which people know this is no secret, of hiring whatever title he's going to give to replace Ed Stewart, who's going to be the director of football for this conference. And he wants to know an opinion on who that person needs to be, because he wants that person to take control of football, and he wants to go do what he thinks is important for long-term financial security with television contracts. That was what I got out of that meeting.
What does that mean in terms of the Big 12, you think? It's just getting started.
I think he's a wheeler dealer, and I wouldn't even begin to know where to start with him. He knows so much about the schools in this league, and he knows so much about the Pac-12 schools. Just because of what's happened, I was shocked. He didn't say this, but if anything, in my opinion, conference alignment, anything happens, it's going to be this league going probably this direction. That's west. I don't know that any of us, maybe him subconsciously thinking that much is going to go this direction. I think that's what I got out of it. But he knows details on every school in that league, and I was shocked.
Did you have a name for him, or did you have a description for the next Ed Stewart? He kind of worked quietly, but the people I've talked to have said Ed Stewart kind of corrected some things before they became big things.
Well, Ed was good at what he did. Ed was a football guy, and Ed is a communicator. And he was able to communicate with people and head things that were going south off at the pass. That's my opinion of Ed. And I hated that we lose him. But Brett, and again, I'm maybe speaking out of turn, and he can say I am, which is fine. I'm good. I think he's looking for somebody to take that over that has a thorough background with football and can say, we're going to make football in this conference over a period of time the best it can be based on the experience this guy brings from leagues that have experience with making football number one, because we all know this. And I love basketball, I love wrestling, I love baseball. He knows that we need to secure a long-term television contract to where the athletic directors in this conference can pay the bills and they can budget and plan in the future. Otherwise, none of this is going to matter. He knows that.
I know you don't typically like to talk about, goals or milestones, I don't want to jinx anything, but you're coming up on a big number as far as your win total. Have you given that even a second thought starting the season, that that's going to happen?
I really haven't. We've been very fortunate here to have a lot of success. And, knock on wood, I feel better now than I have in years and years here. I'm thinking way down the line. I thought one time at 65 I'd check it in. I don't see that happening now if I feel good. So the next one doesn't really do jack for me, honestly. It doesn't. I can tell you it did, but I'm worried about way down the line and trying to work with the commissioner and work with Dr. Shrum and Chad and Reed and our board of regents. We're all tugging one direction now, and to try to build this to where at some point somebody's going to take it over and it's going to be a hell of a job. That's my goal right now, not necessarily the one more win. But I'd like to win Thursday, to be honest with you.
Are you the type to, even during like summer when things are slow, to reflect, look back at what you have built?
Yeah. How old are you now?
43.
Okay, so you're still young. I'm old enough now to reflect back and at least enjoy part of what I do. My kids I'm just about to become an empty nester, so that makes me sad every day. So I reflect on that. I reflect on the job, reflect on where we've started. I've said this, and I don't want to get into a long, drawn-out deal, but I had a discussion with this the other day with Doug Gottlieb on the radio, is from where we started when Coach Miles took that job to where we are now, I do reflect back on the success that we've had to build what we have here now for a Saturday game day that we can all be proud of. That, to me, I get satisfaction out of.
Did you just say that you consider yourself shooting past 65?
I hope so.
Really?
I want to stay healthy. I feel good. We have a big staff now. I don't really do anything anymore. Honestly, I don't. My Gage, my 17-year-old's here. He comes in all the time, and he sees me at my desk. Usually I'm thinking, and he says, "You don't do anything. What do? You just sit there." And I said, "Well, believe it or not, they pay me to think. So I'm thinking." So we have, our staffs are so big now that everybody has a responsibility, and not many coaches leave us because it's a great place to live and I'm a great person to work for. And so I don't really have to do much. Like, I could not have a staff meeting for a week and the thing would flow like normal. It wasn't that way for 10 years, for two reasons. One, I was out of control and I was all over the place, bouncing everywhere. And two, we had coaches leaving all the time. And then Coach Holder said, "Hey, we're stopping this. We're doing long-term assistant coaches contracts," when nobody in the country did it. We were a trendsetter there. We stopped coaches leaving, except for Wickline. And then coaches started to stay. The place runs itself now. Most of the people that are in a director position for me, there's 8 of them, they've been with me a long time, so I don't have to do much anymore. I just get to sit back and enjoy it. And I've also got to the point where I understand the journey and what it takes to get to the game Thursday night, and be appreciative of that side of it more so than actually what happens out there. And I know people say that's crazy, you don't want to win. Nobody wants to win more than me. But I enjoy the journey. I enjoy watching Kendall Daniels. I enjoy watching Trace Ford rally back. I've enjoyed watching Spencer Sanders and what he's gone through, so on and so forth. So I'm happy. I enjoy that. I love watching the players. I tell the team, I told them the other day, look, the fun part for me is just getting started because I just get to stand here and watch you guys play, and I don't really get real emotional because I'm proud of you. People will say, why aren't you showing emotions? Because I don't know. I don't know what to do. What do you want me to do? Jump up and down? That's not who I am. I just like watching the game. And so I'm happy with where I am. I'm happy with the organization, and I'm happy with the direction this university and administration's going.
Hey, Mike, when you guys kick off next Thursday, you're going to have coordinators, both of whom are black. You're one of only 2 schools in the entire Power 5 where that's the case. There just aren't a ton of black coordinators in college football. I don't know if it means a ton to you. I think it means a lot to those guys. But what does that signal about those 2 guys in specific, Derek and Casey, to have them in those jobs?
Well, first off, we hired leaders, men, and coaches. Okay, they just happen to be minorities, and I didn't go looking for that. Sometimes people think that I guide people off one direction, but we went a direction 2 or 3 different times before we had hired Coach Dunn, and the other one's white. So it wasn't like I was just out looking for a black coordinator. I was looking for the fit. And I was just telling Dunn the other day, which I try not to compliment him too much, but he's really good at what he does now. And we've been very fortunate, and selfishly, I've been very fortunate because we've had good play callers here on offense. They've gone off and been very successful. He's edging his way into that. He's not there with a couple of them, but he's getting close. He's really good at what he does now. And then Coach Mason brought all that experience that I've talked about that I liked, no matter what color he was, honestly. He brought that here. But I will say this, because it's worked out that way, I think it's a positive thing. There needs to be, we need to try and do more of that for all the right reasons. But I don't think we do it just because of a person's color. I just don't believe in that. That's just me. So I'm excited about him. Dunn's going to be a head coach if he chooses to. Dunn eventually, I think he's ready to be a coordinator in the NFL. You're seeing college coaches go in the NFL or coordinators, the Kingsbury-ish and those guys. And the NFL game is now running college plays. And he's probably ready to do that now if somebody chooses to, and he's ready to be a head coach. Mason, I think Mason loves what he's doing. He loves being here, loves the role he's playing right now. Hopefully we'll be able to keep him. Who is the other school? Anybody know? Louisville, okay. I'm sorry.
Thomas Harper is a guy who's, been playing behind guys who are experienced and, obviously on NFL rosters and whatnot. Now that he's finally getting his opportunity, do you feel that he could be kind of like this year's Devin Harper, who, his brother, who, just bided his time and finally, made him his
Sure
name
could.
and he got that out?
He could play. See, Devin held his own for a few weeks, and then he got comfortable and got really good because it's called reps, right? It's experience. Things settle down. The game slows down. Little Harp could be the same way. And if he'll do that, if he'll make strides and he'll continue to grow like his brother did, we'll be thrilled with him. But his work ethic's been tremendous.
I know when he came out of high school, I remember you saying that he didn't look like a high schooler when he first came in, and and obviously he didn't even redshirt. What was it then to now that you feel that maybe he is ready to become, that starter?
Experience. There is no substitute for reps and experience. Game time, being out there, your heart beating out of your chest, you're hot, got to think, got to make plays. Experience. He's had the luxury of watching his brother. Those things all factor in, and I would say that that gives him the chance to really have a good season, more so than anything, because he's always worked hard, he's always been tough, and he's always taken the coaching. He just hasn't had a number of reps, and he's going to get them now. He'll get a lot of them.
Mike, Central Michigan coming to town, does that bring back some sort of painful memories?
Yeah, anytime we lose, they're painful. People ask all the time, about certain games. You know, I only wake up in the middle of the night thinking of games that we didn't win. I never think of, like, I haven't woke up yet thinking about the Fiesta Bowl, but I've sure woke up thinking about the Big 12 championship game. And those games you never get rid of, and I don't know why that is. I wish they'd come up with some type of medication that would make it go the other direction, but we didn't play good. We didn't play good in that game, and we didn't put ourselves in position to where that didn't matter. We just didn't play good. And unfortunately, sometimes that happens. I wish I knew why, because if I did, I would have certainly solved it prior to, but we just didn't play good that day. But I will say this, and you guys that have followed me for 18 years know this, they had an NFL quarterback. And when you play an NFL quarterback, you are always at risk. He made play after play after play. He wore us out on those passes. He scrambled, made some throws. So when you take a team that, whatever, I don't even know what the spread was of that game. Let's just say it was a 12-point spread. The other team has an NFL quarterback. In my opinion, that spread goes down to about 5 points because they can change games, particularly at this level.
His tight end is in the league too from that day.
Yeah.
Jets.
Yeah, and we had some other, well, our quarterback's in the NFL too.
Right.
But and, you know, Mason, I'll go to the end and fight for him, but that guy played really good that day.
That's actually all interesting, but not the part of the game I was really talking about.
Which one are you talking about?
Play that ended the
Are you
game.
talking about the extended game?
Yeah, the extended game.
You know, one of my goals, at some point when I'm done, I'm going to write a book. And it'll be, I have so much stuff that I don't know if you'll be able to get it in a book. And there'll be a good chapter on that. And the other thing I want to do is I want to be able to, at some point, figure out how I can get that win back. Because I ought to already be at 150 right now. Then we wouldn't be talking about this. But there's got to be some circuit judge that would say the game was really over, you know. But anyway, yeah, that was a crazy part, yeah. Guys made a mistake. The officials made a mistake. It was interesting when a discussion I had with them, I said, now, I don't think this is right. And they said, well, we talked about it and we do. I said, okay, I've never heard of this on an offensive penalty. But, it's all gone now, so.
Consider, when you say you don't think it was right, were you pretty sure you were right?
Yeah,
Consider
but they said, we got to go. And I said,
Consider taking the team off the field, saying the game's over.
more of what you'd see in a protest, like take your shirt off, lay on the field kind of deal, hug a tree. More of that than take the team off the field. But, honestly, I actually thought of what could I do to stop it and let people think. But I was afraid it'd make a big scene national, and I didn't want to do that.
I'm gonna guess you know the crew, or at least where the crew's coming from for Thursday.
Yeah, they're Power 5 crews, that's what you're asking.
Yeah.
I would
Does that have
volunteer.
any kind of effect on how you practice defending Hail Marys?
Yes, we looked at that, and we were able to see things that we did wrong, which it was kind of a weird deal because it ended up being way short, and then the guy cut across the, it ended up not working. I don't think that it was designed that way. Maybe it was, but I don't think it was designed that way. But we looked at it, studied it, changed a few things, yes.
I was gonna volunteer to write your book, but if you're gonna coach till 65, there's no way I can last that long.
You're really, really good in grammar and spelling and stuff, but by that time, you might be out, yeah.
Do you know how you intend to split those carries among those running backs quite yet?
No, I don't. I'm hoping that they all stay healthy and that based on maturity and experience that Dominic totes the load. And then let the other guys, because the other guys haven't played, let them kind of get their feet wet and not put them out there and just have to hammer them. That's my goal.
You did coach at your 65. You thought most people think that coaches wouldn't coach like that, like Bobby Bowden, Paterno, those guys stick around that long. They wouldn't think you'd be setting the trend if you went that long.
Well, I think Coach Saban's he's like 70 or something, right? And I mean, I'm not going to compare myself to him. He's got 19 national championships or whatever. But, and I don't know. I'm just saying, if you feel good and you like what you do and you're fortunate enough that you're healthy, like in the summer when I go on vacation, if I go somewhere for a few days, about a day and a half is all I can take, and then I've got to find something to do. I can't just sit by a pool. and just look around. I can't do that. I got to have something going on. So that's what my fear is to do it. And I can get into some other business, which I might, but I just don't know because this job eats up my time all the time. And that's what Kristen wants. She wants me to be, my time to be eaten up all the time.
Do TV?
Sure, I'll do TV.
Games, stuff like that.
Sure.
How have you seen that de-escalate experience for Jamar and Corey heading into the season?
Those reps were valuable. Is that what you're asking me? Their reps in the Fiesta Bowl were valuable. You're in a big setting. You had to make plays, come from behind. You got to stop them, got to challenge them. Notre Dame had length at tight end and wide out. So, yes, those reps should pay off for us.
Have you had the opportunity to see any of the Hard Knocks highlights of Malcolm?
I've seen one, the one where they were excited about him, you know, doing the right thing. I haven't seen any other ones.
There was one where the position coach was basically yelling at the veteran saying, yeah, he's a is that the one you
That's
saw?
the one I saw,
Okay.
yeah. Malcolm was kind of sinking in his seat, you know?
He doesn't seem like a guy who wants that type of attention, but he just wants to go out and
It's a good thing, but I think he was sinking in. Yeah, he had that deal, you know, and I think he was trying to sliver under the table. Yeah, I mean, those guys, that's their job. And so I would guess it's pretty fierce, and, you know, this is not real funny. And I just kind of felt for him in that situation, so.
You like last week's, they're warming up before the joint practice with Indy, and it's the linebacker coach he's talking to. He's trying to talk to him in wrestling, because he knows he's a wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
And Malcolm starts saying, I'm not gonna start a fight, but if somebody puts their hands on me after the play, I'm not gonna, and he talks about putting them in a hip roll, and you love it because of the wrestling background.
Yeah, well, I would not mess with him. I was over here at the scrimmage the other day, watching a high school scrimmage, and I saw, can't remember who we were going against, Jinx or Choctaw or Sand Springs, I don't remember, Stillwater. And one of their linemen was blocking one of our defensive players, and he's a wrestler. And I just saw him, and he kind of pushed him late, and the kid hooked his arm and hip flew him over. I mean, it was awesome. I mean, the cleats were in the air, and I saw it, and I'm like, that's far out. That's awesome. And, you know, there's no officials out there, so you can't get it. I mean, that's probably the coolest thing I saw the whole scrimmage. So.
Casey said the last couple of years, he's been calling plays with the knowledge that we can't get Spencer hurt because of the lack of experience and depth of quarterback. So that may have to continue. Is that something you guys have talked about and you endorse?
We've had those discussions. We got to run our offense. I feel I'm comfortable with where we're at in that position. Most coordinators have apprehensive feelings about another guy going in and playing quarterback. That's just the way it is. So I would say that we're always wanting to do that, but I feel good about where we're at with those guys.
Would you feel better if you got up early in some of these early games and got a chance for Gunner or Garrett to both get in there?
Hopefully we'll be able to do that. Hopefully we're in a position. We wanted to do it last year with guys, and we didn't have that luxury. We were just trying to win at the end of the games. This team is, I'm going to say this now. You got to watch these teams. This team is a tough physical team. That concerns me. But any experience that they can get is valuable to them. And gaining that experience with tremendous amount of pressure on them makes it extremely difficult because they get evaluated differently than anybody on the field.
Spencer loses his helmet, has to come out for a play the first drive. Who do you run in?
Got it. Is that what you're asking? Yeah. Yeah, he's up next.
These Thursday night games have become almost routine for you guys. I know you've said in the past you really like them because you get them before students and fans get off on the weekend, Labor Day weekend. Is that still your mindset? Is that why we see them, or anything changed in that regard?
So it's interesting when we talk conference realignment. I think there could be a variety of things that factor into all of this. I'm going to get back to that, but I think this is worth talking about. And the networks are going to tell us what to do, period. Okay? And so you might play Thursday night games. You might play Friday night games. and you might play 11 a.m. games. Fans don't like it, but the media tells us what to do. So we have our contract with the Big 12 television contract requires us over a certain number of years to play certain Thursday night games and even a Friday night game. I can't remember the details of it, but we pick those. So for us to be able to start the season then, I think is it Labor Day weekend? So it catches the students before they all head out, which is smart. Thursday night, try to get more people. You grab television, you grab a crowd, you can. We thought it was beneficial. And then we get an extra day for the next game, so on and so forth. But then there's going to be conversations, in my opinion, like how many of the teams in your league are willing to play Thursday and Friday night games might depend on what kind of contract that Fox or ESPN or whoever gives you. And how many teams in this league, are you guys still willing to work a deal with Bedlam, with OU and OSU, to where you play for the next 10 years, even though you're not in the same league? If so, we'll pay you. All those things will be on the table. It all factors in just like it is now.